The promise. It was a moonless night when the whispers began. Shadows crept along the walls of the small house on the outskirts of the village. Inside, a woman named Elara clutched her shawl tightly, her heart pounding with fear. Her husband, the village chief, had passed away suddenly, leaving her vulnerable and exposed to the whims of the villagers. Elara's son, Arin, a young man of barely 18, stood by her side. The villagers, already suspicious and superstitious, had begun to cast blame on Elara for her husband's death. They claimed she was cursed, that her presence would bring ruin to the village. Elara knew the only way to protect herself and her son was to make a drastic decision. Arin, she said, voice trembling, we must do something to safeguard our future. Arin looked at his mother, confusion and concern etched on his face. What do you mean, mother? We must marry, Elara whispered, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. It is the only way. As your wife, they cannot harm me without bringing shame upon themselves. The square was eerily silent as Elara and Arin stood before the elder. The villagers gathered around, their faces masks of disbelief and curiosity. The elder, a man of great wisdom and age, looked at Elara with a mixture of pity and understanding. Are you certain of this, Elara? He asked, his voice grave. I am, Elara replied, her voice steady despite the turmoil in her heart. It is the only way to ensure our safety. The elder nodded and began the ceremony. As the words of the ancient ritual filled the air, Elara felt a strange sense of calm wash over her. She glanced at Arin, who stood tall and resolute, his eyes never leaving hers. Despite the unconventional nature of their union, she felt a deep bond forming between them, a bond forged in desperation and necessity. Chapter 3. The aftermath. The days following the wedding were tense. The villagers whispered behind their backs, casting suspicious glances whenever Elara and Arin walked by, but they dared not confront them directly. The marriage, though unorthodox, provided a shield against their wrath. Elara and Arin settled into their new roles. Though their relationship remained one of mother and son, they presented a united front to the village. Elara took on the responsibilities of a wife, managing the household and ensuring that Arin was well cared for. Arin, in turn, protected his mother fiercely, always ready to defend her honor. The suspicion months passed, and the whispers began to fade. Life in the village returned to a semblance of normalcy, but Elara and Arin remained vigilant. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, a stranger arrived in the village. He was a tall, dark-haired man with piercing blue eyes that seemed to see right through Elara. The stranger introduced himself as Joran, a traveler seeking shelter for the night. Elara, always hospitable, welcomed him into their home. But as the night wore on, she couldn't shake the feeling that there was something off about him. Mother, Arin said quietly as they prepared for bed. Do you trust him? Elara hesitated before answering. I do not know, Arin. We must be cautious. The intrusion in the dead of night. Elara was awakened by a noise outside her window. She crept to the window and peered out into the darkness. There, standing in the shadows, was Joran. He was speaking in hushed tones to a group of villagers, his eyes glinting with malice. Elara's heart raced as she realized what was happening. Joran was stirring up trouble, planting seeds of doubt and fear in the minds of the villagers. She knew she had to act quickly to protect herself and Arin. She woke Arin and explained what she had seen. We must confront him, she said, determination in her voice. We cannot let him turn the villagers against us. The confrontation. The next morning, Elara and Arin approached Joran as he prepared to leave. We need to talk, Elara said, her voice steady. Joran looked at them, a smirk playing on his lips. Is there a problem? We know what you're doing, Arin said, stepping forward. You're trying to turn the villagers against us. Why? Joran's smirk faded, replaced by a look of cold calculation. You're smart, boy, but it's too late. The villagers already suspect you. They believe your marriage is a sham, a cover for something darker. Elara felt a chill run down her spine. What do you mean? Joran's eyes gleamed with malice. There are rumors that your husband was murdered, that you killed him to take his place as the village chief. The accusation, the words hit Elara like a blow. That's not true, she cried. I loved my husband. I would never harm him. Joran shrugged. It doesn't matter what the truth is. The villagers believe what they want to believe. And right now, they believe you're a murderer. Elara felt a wave of despair wash over her. She looked at Arin, who stood by her side, his face pale but determined. What do we do, mother? He asked. We fight, Elara said, her voice firm. We prove our innocence. To the investigation, Elara and Aaron set out to uncover the truth. They visited the village elder, who agreed to help them. Together, they combed through old records and spoke to villagers who might have seen or heard something on the night of Elara's husband's death. Slowly, a picture began to emerge. There were discrepancies in the accounts of the night her husband died. Some villagers had seen a shadowy figure near their house, while others had heard strange noises. Elara and Aaron followed every lead, determined to clear their names. A discovery one evening, as Elara and Aaron were sifting through old records, they stumbled upon a piece of evidence that changed everything. It was a letter written by Elara's husband just days before his death. In it, he expressed his fears that someone was plotting against him. Elara's heart raced as she read the letter. This proves it, she said. Someone wanted him dead. Aaron nodded. But who and why? The revelation as they delved deeper into the mystery. Elara and Aaron uncovered a shocking truth. The person behind the plot was none other than Joran. He had been a rival of Elara's husband, jealous of his position and power. Joran had orchestrated the murder and then planted the seeds of doubt in the villagers' minds to cover his tracks. With this new information, Elara and Aaron confronted Joran once again. This time, they had the village elder and several villagers with them. We know the truth, Elara said, holding up the letter. You killed my husband. Joran's face twisted in rage. You have no proof, he spat. We have enough, the elder said, his voice stern. You will face justice for your crimes. The vindication, Joran was taken into custody, and the truth of his actions was revealed to the entire village. Elara and Aaron were finally vindicated, their names cleared of any wrongdoing. The villagers, realizing their mistake, apologized and pledged their support to Elara and Aaron. With Joran gone and the truth known, Elara and Aaron were able to live in peace. Their bond, forged in desperation, grew stronger with each passing day. They continued to honor the memory of Elara's husband, knowing that his death had not been in vain. A new beginning. As the seasons changed, so did the village. The people, having learned from their mistakes, became more united and supportive of one another. Elara and Aaron played a vital role in this transformation, their strength and resilience inspiring others. Elara continued to lead the village with wisdom and compassion, while Aaron grew into a capable and respected young man. Their unconventional marriage, born out of necessity, had brought them closer together and made them stronger. And so, under the same moonless sky where their journey began, Elara and Aaron looked to the future with hope and determination, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead together.